This video will be in two parts. The first part, I'm just going to talk about context and like the history, especially more from my perspective about like YouTube and the algorithm and how things have changed throughout the last, say, decade. The second half of the video might be more of what you're interested in, and it's what the uploading process specifically looks like. So if you're in for that part, you can jump ahead to that video. This is just going to give context to a lot of stuff that now exists in the second half of the video. Also, this is going to be a long video, so I'd recommend watching it in segments and probably not all at once. So I'm going to just immediately jump into, and again, it's from my perspective, so take what I'm gonna say in this video with a grain of salt. But back in 2011, some of you might remember this thing called replay girls. Basically on a video, back in like old YouTube, you used to be able to kind of like reply to a video and put like your own like video as a response to another video if the person approved of that ability. So basically like right above the comment section under the description would be like, hey, if someone made a video and I made a response video to it and they approved the response video, then the video would come up right in between there. It was kind of cool actually. But a lot of people started seeing these things called replay girls, which was ways to kind of bait clicks and stuff like that in like old YouTube. Because in old YouTube, engagement was kind of king. And engagement, for context, refers to, especially now, comments, likes, and watch time. Things we're going to get into in a little bit, but that was like oldest YouTube. And then we kind of moved into like 2011 to 2015 YouTube, in which case the thing that was interesting about that era of YouTube, at least from my perspective, was they didn't actually have the algorithm just yet. I think that hit in 2016, where they needed you to make a video every single day, like basically daily videos, and they had to be at least 10 minutes and 1 second long. Now, the reason that was a thing is to counteract things like replay girls and stuff like that that came before it, is because if you do that, then those videos, which were pumped out pretty quickly and also tended to be short, could not necessarily exist on the platform. The problem, however, was any kind of long form content or anything that takes a long time to make, like animations and parodies and raps and stuff like that. You can't do that daily and for 10 minutes at a time. Now, what's so magical about the 10-minute number? Here's the thing. When YouTube implemented the way that people can get paid, it's through ads, ad revenue. So the way that works too is that there's multiple kinds of ads, and the way at the time it worked was, the reason you wanted to do a 10-minute and like 1 second video, if you recall ever seeing those, is because that's the maximum amount of ads that can be put on a video if a video is that long. Because you have like the pre-roll ads, you have like banner ads, you have like mid-rolls and stuff like that. Well, if your video was that long, the algorithm would recognize that this is what like advertisers liked as a long length video to put ads on. So everyone kind of shot for that. They'd pad their videos even, you know, a video that would end at say like 7 minutes and 40 seconds, you'd see someone ramble as much as they could, at least until they could do their outro card that would take them over that 10-minute mark for that reason around the 2016 era. Here's the other problem though, however, was back in that era, to get partnered, all you needed was 10,000 total views on your channel, which is not relatively hard to do depending on the niche you're in and what exactly you're doing. It can be harder for other people than others depending on that kind of stuff. But the problem, the first actual adpocalypse was actually around this issue, because then you would have organizations and stuff, let's say some bad actors, and I'm not talking like bad actors even on the platform, I'm talking like in the world. I'm not going to say specifically, but when I say organizations, we're leaning towards maybe you can think of what I'm talking about in the world as a whole, right? They would make YouTube channels and be able to get partnered and sell like their propaganda and stuff. And advertisers finally caught on that their ads were being put on some of these channels, and they were not happy about that. They were not happy with YouTube. So YouTube moved into the whole, 10-minute, 1 second thing and stuff after all of that as well, because that was like the old partner issues. That's actually when I originally got partnered on my first channel. It was still just 10,000 views. I did that in one video on the old channel, so that was great. But I understand that's why they did that change. We're eventually now going to jump forward to 2017, which we're actually here for. Yes, there was like another incident with the with PewDiePie and the bridge and all that stuff too. But what happened here with the second adpocalypse was then the algorithm that we know today was implemented. And back then it was not implemented very well. Let's just say that. Basically, to explain it, the algorithm was like an infant like learning program. In which case, the reason why everyone and their mothers were getting instantly demonetized on upload was because the algorithm didn't know nothing, like an infant. It didn't know anything, and YouTube didn't like try and feed it like good stuff before actually releasing it. And just kind of released it on the platform and said, hey, when you get told no a bunch of times, learn that that's probably okay, and the next time you won't hit people anymore. Which we can get into a different conversation about how good or bad of an implementing job that is. Personally, I don't think that was the greatest, when obviously you had people that have been established on the platform for years and were known to be good creators and like played by the rules, getting like instantly demonetized on upload. I was getting demonetized on upload. There's a Nags meme about him getting demonetized on upload. That's back in that era, right? Like everything was getting demonetized because the algorithm didn't know better. It was a learning AI. And fortunately, we're going to get to the good news eventually. It has learned a bit over the last couple years, but back in 2017, it didn't know squat all, and it was just hitting everything. However, in 2018, the beginning of 2018, they changed the partner program requirements once again. And this time they required you to have 1,000 subscribers and also 4,000 hours of total watch time. I was back on the League channel still at that point. I had 500 subscribers. I busted my butt off and got to that 1,000 mark by June. And the repartner process took like a good half a year on that channel, unfortunately. But it is a thing. Like you'll get, once you hit that stat, it'll automatically put you in a queue to get partnerization. I can say words. No, I can't. But anyways, the way that process works, for those that are curious too, is while it's automatic, it's not first come, first serve. It's actually based on how much watch time you're still generating, because they want to get the people that are like generating hundreds and maybe thousands of hours of watch time monetized as fast as possible to help them not miss out on the fact that they're going to be missing a bunch of money if it was first come, first serve. I don't necessarily know if I like that, but at the same time, it seems like if we fast forward, and we'll get to that eventually too, the partner process was like really backed up at the very beginning of like 2018 all the way to 2019 even, because a lot of people had to get repartnered and reevaluated, etc. It seems like it's smoothed out a bit more now, but that was the new requirements that they did. The good thing though that they did in this was they changed the algorithm to favor engagement once again. So instead of 10 minutes and 1 second, they went back to likes, comments, and watch time. Watch time refers to how long a person is watching your video. If I made like an 8-minute video and people were watching, let's say 5 minutes of it, that was like the average watch time, then that's like, over half the video, over 50% of the videos being watched constantly. Now YouTube would see that, they see the likes, they see the comments, they push that video out because it's getting at least over 50% of watch time. On average, most people get like 10%. So really 50% is pretty good, but that's also why if you really want to support like a creator you watch, try and watch their videos when you have time to watch, like at least like let's say 5 to 10 minutes of it at a time. That probably helps more than watching, maybe only be able to watch like 50 seconds and then you have to bounce out, because then that hurts the overall watch time for those people. However, the good news about this is it allowed other kinds of creators to kind of come back to YouTube that kind of had to exodus from it because the kind of content they made wouldn't work in the 10-minute, 1 second every day kind of a thing. Well, now it's not, you don't have to do daily uploads. You still can do daily uploads and it probably won't hurt you, but you don't have to do daily uploads. You just have to worry about that watch time, making sure people are watching your video as long as possible, making sure there's likes in the comments. Is why people do the whole, smash the like button, beat the like button, smack, flip it, rub it down. I don't know if people do the like button anymore. Like button's gotten a lot of action over the last like half decade. I don't know. But the point is, that's why all that stuff exists. And that's why maybe it's annoying to some people when people do that, but people will do that at the beginning of a video, because sometimes people will click off a video and forget to do that on a video they actually did like and maybe wanted to even comment on, but they're like on a playlist, or they just keep clicking like the recommended video afterwards and like they forget. So people do that at the beginning because then it's like, oh, well, at least now you did it now. And then if you keep doing that, you're just going on autopilot basically. Wow. Maybe then it was already done and then you don't have to worry about doing that too much. That said, 2018 was an interesting turn for YouTube because YouTube started doing this thing where they started trying to at least favor creators a little bit more. At least it seemed that way, to be honest. Now, yeah, I have to hold the mic too because I don't have a mic arm, by the way. Sorry about this if it keeps getting like really sense like, oh, what's going on here? Whoops. But with that being said, 2018 started some changes that were actually pretty good on the creator side, because one of the things in 2017, of course, was the whole, you even said something that sounded like a curse word, you would get demonetized. And that still persisted at this point in time. But at this point in time, it at least allowed things like animators to come back, like Jaden's animations and the Odd Ones Out and all of them. Like animators could come back to YouTube because they didn't have to make a video every day. They could make a video once every 2 weeks and it still would work in this new algorithm. So that was actually pretty good. But now we're going to fast forward to 2020, because in 2020, they actually made some of the best changes so far on the creator side. I could actually go over here a little bit. Yes, that'd probably be a little bit better for y'all. And what I mean by that is they kind of overhauled the YouTube studio. And you're going to see this more in the second half of the video, where I actually upload a video to show you what the YouTube studio specifically looks like, what the uploading process looks like, and things like that. But in short, In 2020, especially around September, about 1 year from actually this point, the beginning of September, they implemented like new monetization stuff. Basically, especially with the lockdown and the stuff like that, you would think YouTubers would be benefiting because more people were at home to watch YouTube videos, but no, there's only so many, like a limited number of ads to actually go around. So actually, everybody probably made a lot of less money on YouTube than they did, than you would think they did. That said, though, one of the things they did, YouTube tried to do and implemented pretty successfully, was they realized that some channels make kind of like adult content. And I don't necessarily mean like the prawns, but I do mean like their audience is made for like older people. It's not made for like young kids and stuff. And there's advertisers. There actually was a group of advertisers that were okay putting their videos on those kinds of videos and channels still. So YouTube decided, hey, okay, for step one, those channels can remonetize because these advertisers have agreed they're okay with their ads being put on these kinds of channels. There we go. But for two, the bigger one was to kind of let up, they eased up on the cursing and everything, actually, as a matter of fact. So the thing is, and we'll see this more when I'm uploading the video in a little bit, is there's like 3 categories and like several sections, or I guess there's several categories and 3 sections per category. And like for cursing, for example, if it's like a casual cursing, it's actually still a fully monetized video. If it's like a heavy cursing, like every other word, you're like recording an argument or something like that, you can get limited ads still, which means you can still kind of monetize. You just can't fully monetize. Advertisers are still kind of okay. And then there's like the bad words, like the really bad words, like the words I can't say because you know the words that I'm, the bad ones. The really bad ones, the ones you wouldn't say behind closed doors to your best friends because you think they're bad words. Yeah, you're not getting monetized for those ones. And there's multiple categories. That's like just language. There's also like, violence, all these other things that we're going to see in the second half of the video. But they did this change and it's kind of nice because it kind of takes away that whole you can't curse anymore thing. At first, when they implemented, they were like, could you please maybe try not to curse in the first 30 seconds of the video though? And then they kind of eased up on that too and said, you can curse like twice in the beginning of the first 30 seconds of the video, and then whatever. And as we'll see when I get into the second half of the video, even our own stuff like the TTT videos, the GTA videos, all that, fully monetized, which is part of the experiment. That's why I made a video back in March called Testing the Limits of YouTube. And now we're in part 2 where we've tested the limits of YouTube. And now we're kind of seeing some of the results of like the new system and stuff like that they've implemented. Even something more recently they implemented, again, we're going to see more visuals in the next part of the video, is checks. They actually have a checking system now. See, before when you would upload a video, you also wouldn't know back in like 2017, the video was demonetized, unfortunately, until it was uploaded and you released it. And then the yellow symbol would come up and you're like, oh, well now it's too late. And why it would be too late, why that was so much of an issue as well, is because a video usually gets the most bulk of its views in the first 48 to maybe 72 hours of its release. So if it's demonetized and being like processed for appeal during that whole time, there's a lot of money you're now missing out on that ads won't be on that video for. Because again, YouTubers are not paid by views. They're not paid by how many views are on a video. If I got 1,000 views on a video, that's not $1,000. Now, based off of CPM and stuff like that I won't get into too much because it's a little bit complicated and this video is already going to be pretty long. Think about it simplistically as I can, $1 per 1,000 views. Put it that way. So if you made a video that had 50,000 views, $50. Now, this can vary, and that's why I'm not going to get too into it. It can vary by things like watch time and engagement and stuff like that, which again, why it's important, why watch time and stuff like that can be, really good. If you're able to sit down and watch a whole video in one go even, stuff like that can be awesome because you get the average watch time up of a video and help that video get pushed out by YouTube. Because at the end of the day, the YouTube algorithm currently just cares that people are watching a video for as long as possible. So, with that being said, one of the things as well that I just kind of forgot low key, but I'm kind of remembering again, is the check system. So now the check system, what it does is while the video is processing, and we're going to get visuals again, I keep saying that, but just hang on. What that basically means is now you'll see it'll be checking the video to make sure there's no copyrighted content in it and stuff like that. And so that way you'll know before you hit upload if you need to take something out or edit something away and things like that. Which gets into the final part of the YouTube Studio at least, is that the YouTube Studio now has a video editor built into it. So if you upload a video, there's like a minute of copyright stuff that you thought wasn't copyrighted or whatever, you don't have to delete the video. You can just go into the studio with the video, cut that 1 minute out, or mute that 1 minute, and then after like a couple hours, the video will reprocess with that minute either muted or that minute cut out of the video, so that way you can leave the video up, especially if that video is like banging. Let's say you made like a meme video or a parody video, whatever, and you thought it was clean. It wasn't clean. You don't have to delete the video and just hope it does good again. It's like, no, you can just leave it up, but you can cut that part out or even mute that part depending on how you want to do that. So in short, YouTube's done a lot of actually decent changes, and I hope they keep doing more changes like this in the future, because I know, and part of the reason I'm uploading this video is if for any friends or anybody like that that have been either curious about the process, want to start their own channels, even want to just upload the VODs from Twitch just to have them stored on here, but are kind of curious about how that process works, what they'll get in trouble for. So I'll conclude with the copyright claim and copyright strike system. So YouTube has a copyright claim system and a copyright strike system. So let's talk about DMCA for a little bit. The way it works on YouTube is there's the strike system, but the strike system is more for like YouTube guidelines and stuff like that. Like community guideline, you break rules and stuff like that instead. The DMCA system does not actually really care in terms of your channel being in trouble, how many times you upload like copyright songs. You just can't make money off of it. And if you're a hobbyist and you're not trying to make money anyways, then it's really actually irrelevant. You can make 1,000 videos to get copyright claimed and your like channel will still be in good standings and everything. So people can still make their, Naruto, Linkin Park AMVs to this day if they want to. It's actually totally fine. The only thing you have to worry about is if you are actually trying to make money off of YouTube and what that kind of looks like. When a thing does get claimed, usually it'll tell you what exactly got claimed, what part in the video got claimed at, and like the other thing we talked about earlier, you can go in and mute that part if you want to, but you also don't have to. The video won't actually get muted automatically. The video won't get taken down. You won't get a strike. You'll just get a claim. Claims are fine. Claims are harmless. The thing, however, is though, what kind of songs then can you use if you're kind of curious about that? And I'll get into this more in the second half of the video, but traditionally there's actually a lot of video game music, for example, that actually is fine because these companies wanted these songs in their games in the background. As long as you're not just putting up the song directly itself and saying it's your like song and you're trying to claim money off of it, there's actually a lot of stuff you can get away with video game wise, as long as it's maybe not Nintendo. So like in a lot of the videos that I make, I use a lot of Danganronpa and Sonic music in the background of my videos for that reason, because especially with Sonic's very chill on you using any of their like OSTs as a background music for any of your videos. They're actually pretty fine with that, which is surprisingly cool of Sonic and them, right? So cool. Thanks, Sega. But even Danganronpa, and there's a little bit of discrepancy there, we're getting to that in the later part of the video too. Basically the second game, the Ultra Despair Girls and 3 are actually all fine. The first game, the only issue is the execution music because it shares that with the Funimation when they did the anime for the first game back in 2014. Even though the first game came out in 2010, there's a little bit of an issue there. I'll talk about it more in the second half of the video. But that's really the only song from the first game that's even copyrighted. So those are just 2 examples. I've used some Persona stuff. I've used some other stuff too. There's actually quite a bit of stuff you can use because those things are songs in the background of when people are doing like Let's Plays and stuff that aren't getting copyrighted claimed either. So those are actually fine. You kind of need to dance around a little bit and like find out which ones are which. If you're worried about it, just ebb on the edge of caution and just not do it then if you think it's going to be a problem and you're trying to be monetized. If you're not trying to be monetized, do whatever you want and you will not be in trouble if it's a claim. A claim will not get you in trouble. You can get 1,000 claims and not be in trouble. You'll be fine. So with all this context aside, let's jump into the second half of the video, which I fear is also going to be very long. So again, watch this in sections as needed be, and we're going to hop over there and talk about what actually uploading a video looks like and going through the process of it. So this is part 2 of a video, in which case this is just going to show what the process of uploading a video looks like for anyone curious, for anyone looking to upload videos themselves. Maybe they've done it before even, but it's been so long and they've heard about all the changes that they don't know what exactly like the YouTube studio even is and things like that, what the process looks like when you're going through the detailing and the video elements and the checks now, which is something that they implemented actually this year. There's a couple things. This whole thing was implemented a while ago, but some of these features were implemented actually just this year. So let's go through those as a matter of fact, and let's see where we go. So first, when you're uploading a video, right, you'll have the video will be over here, the auto generate a thumbnail, and then you'll have like the details tab. That's what this basically is inside the YouTube studio, as they call it now, the upload studio. The creator studio, there's various names for it, but basically just YouTube studio. When you go to click upload and you put in a video, it will bring you to this screen. And in this screen, it'll have things you can enter. So you can enter a title, so you put a title of some sort. If you can't think of a title, it'll usually just use whatever the name of the file was actually when you put it in here. But then you can add up to 100 character spaces, as a matter of fact. You have a 100 character limit of things you can put in there, and then you can name it kind of whatever you want, as long as it's obviously, good words and stuff like that. Then you have a description down here too, where you can describe stuff that's in the video. You can put links to other either channels or social media or stream or things like that. One thing they implemented a bit ago that you might have seen is hashtags. We actually don't really know how useful those are or are not, but they're there and you get up to 3 of them. And if you put them either in your title or at the end of your description, I believe you can then have, they'll be like above the title when a video's been uploaded and things like that. And then you can be like, oh, hey, in case they're ever useful. You've been implementing it for so long, now you know that they're there. I mean, you can click on them and they will take you places, but like, it's not like Twitter, for example, where it's like it's a trending topic and that's why it's there. It's just kind of up in the air a little bit. There's not a lot of clarity per se, but they're there. So, I mean, why not? It doesn't seem to negatively affect anything at the moment. So, once you do those two things in the details tab, you'll scroll down here. Here's the thumbnail part. Now you can have, like I said, they'll auto generate 3 thumbnails based off of the video for you, or you can hit upload a thumbnail. You upload a thumbnail, it'll take you like to your picture files or your music files, wherever you have your thumbnail that you created and put wherever. I have a whole folder, for example, that's just YouTube thumbnails, so I can go in, be like, oh, hey, you know, like here's some of the League stuff, here's some of the GTA stuff, here's some of the TTT stuff. All of that's basically in here, so it's actually relatively quick and easy to find. Wherever you save your file as, you're gonna want to remember that, so you can kind of go in, quickly grab one of them and be like, okay, cool, we're gonna, you know, upload this one. And now that's the thumbnail instead. So with that being said, once you do all of those things, you can also go create a thumbnail as well using like TubeBuddy and things like that. Those are free. You just have to pay if you want to use the bonus features, but that could be useful. That's a video for another time, really. I'm going to keep it really onto just this to keep it simplistic though. For some reason the thumbnail is not showing up. That's kind of interesting actually, as a matter of fact. Then you have playlists. Now playlists are a thing that you might be able to just ignore if you don't want to. I tend to use them. I tend to have a lot of them. I have one playlist that's just every video I've ever uploaded, and then a lot of playlists depending on what exactly I'm uploading. In this case, I'll count this as like a friends and collabs. It's not really a collab, but it is a friend, so that counts. I'll just throw that in there. Why not? And then there's this part where it says audience. This video is set to not made for kids, set by you. When COPPA was enacted, or COPPA, however you pronounce it, one thing to remember is that it was a government regulation. It wasn't a YouTube policy. YouTube kind of had to respond though, because they got caught out, basically not doing what they were supposed to be doing. COPPA has existed since our childhood and kids programming on television and stuff like that. So the thing about this is, because I bring that up because people were afraid about, if something would be hit because kids could watch it. No, when they enacted COPPA, they're specifically looking for content that is targeting children specifically. Like if you're making a toy review for like a toy that's like for 4-year-olds or something like that, they're not looking for content that's even like family friendly, in which case kids could watch it because maybe there's like a lack of cussing, or you're playing like an adventure video game that's like rated E. No, they're not looking for that. They don't care about that. They're looking specifically for those people that were targeting and like making stuff for children, or using like children's characters to like do stuff that maybe they weren't supposed to be doing. That's what that was really for. So you can do this no matter what your level. I said my stuff is not made for kids, as in kids maybe could watch it, but it's not made for them. And I just want to clarify that, because you might read that if it's your first time uploading or it's been a while and you're like, oh, that seems like really specific. I'm worried now. It's government stuff. What's going on here? That's what's going on here. You kind of can just basically ignore it. You don't have to do anything about it. You can just set it, it's not made for kids. There you go. And you can move on. So that's why down here it says, no, it's not made for, especially this video. I don't think this video of all videos is made for kids. But yeah, we'll get to that in a bit too. So there's be like age restrictions and stuff like that. There's no paid promotion, so I can ignore this. Automatic chapters, this is a new feature, and I think that if you've noticed, like in the video, sometimes things will be like broken up by section, and that's if you go into the description and you like timestamp things, then the video you can kind of click around easier to do that, or click on the timestamps in the description. I think they're trying to implement that as an automatic thing if the video detects that. I just turned it on because I guess why not, but not necessarily a thing that I actually have a lot of knowledge in, because it's very new actually, like this week new. Tags. Now here's the tags that you'll see in the sidebar of YouTube videos. Maybe you won't see them because sometimes people don't use tags. They either have an audience, they have a type of video, whatever. It's very hard to think about like what exactly would work for the tabs and stuff like that. They'll try and auto-generate tags down here. I don't know what this is and I don't know what this is, but like we can use that one, for example. We can also use actually proper, for example, your own name of the channel, some of the games maybe in the video depending on what game you're playing. So like TTT is in there, Minecraft, I don't know if it's in there, but GTA is. So you can do stuff like that. You can get creative with them. You can make longer tags. You can be like specific things. You can like make your tags title of previous videos to try and get them related and stuff like that. There's actually a couple of things you can do when it comes to tags and like the variety and volume, but you do have a character limit of 500 characters, so you have to be careful when you are filling that in if you get carried away with like a certain idea or something like that, right? There you go. Then when you scroll down here, you can kind of ignore all of this. You can set it if you want to, but it's kind of optional. Video language, certification, recording date, video location. I'm not giving no my location specifically. People might have an idea of where I am, but you're gonna have to still guesstimate. YouTube license, standard YouTube license. That's what everybody has if they're just uploading even for fun or hobbyist. And then we go down here. So it's like the category, gaming content. It's like the name of the game. Well, there's actually a lot of games in this one, so you can just leave this one blank. You don't have to fill this one in. That's why it's optional. And then finally, at the very bottom, comments and ratings. Choose if and how you want to show comments. So I have it set to hold potentially inappropriate comments for review. So it'll try and grab like links and spam and stuff. And then sort by top. You can switch that to sort by new. That's basically like when it's mainly if you're like a bigger person, maybe you're doing like a contest or an interactive video where like you're gonna do the next video based off of comments from the previous video. You would set them by top, so whoever has like the most liked, comments and stuff, maybe that's a really great idea. Even like Q&A stuff, sometimes that's how that works. So that way, instead of people asking the same question, they'll see, oh, this comment, which already has like a bunch of likes, is the question I have. So I'll just like that one to make sure that gets up there because I want to see them answer that. Things like that. And then finally, show how many likes and dislikes on the video. You can turn that on or off. If you don't want to see that because you're like, nope, I'm not really into that, you can. It's to each their own. So there you go. That's the first tab though. That is the first tab. That's just details. The next tab we're going to get into, of course, is monetization. So with monetization, they did a couple of changes and we're going to talk about them because this is the big one. This is the big one. So for example, if I set this to monetize this video, right? What's going to happen is the checks that was over here is going to be unchecked, and down here at the bottom is going to be rechecking the video. So basically what they do now when you upload a video is while it's uploading, right, there's an SD processing, which is it processes the video. There's the HD processing, which makes the video now in HD. It will automatically do that for you from the get-go, because in the days of past, like old YouTube, it would just upload the video and then like several hours later it would HD process it, and then it'll be like, better. But like for the first couple hours it'd be like 360 quality. Now it'll just do it if you're patient. You don't have to necessarily wait for that part, but you do have to wait for the SD processing. You can't even go past the details tab until the SD processing. But the HD processing is kind of nice because if you just have some patience, it'll actually put it in HD for you before you even send the video to go live, which is nice. But the checking thing, this is something they implemented actually this year. This is actually very new. It now goes through your video and it'll look to see if there's anything copyrighted before you hit upload, so that if there is something copyrighted, you didn't hit upload, go live, and then afterwards get hit with a copyright claim. Real quick, there's a difference between copyright claims and copyright strikes. Copyright strikes are the bad ones. 3 of those, you're done. Copyright claims don't matter unless you are really into monetization. Then it matters, of course, like if you get paid because like you do YouTube for a living or something. But if you're like a hobbyist, it doesn't matter. You can make 1,000 videos, they get claimed, your channel will still be in good standings. Nothing changes actually, except for the monetization, which then goes to whoever the copyright owner is of the content that got claimed. That's it. That's all that means. Ad stability. So now it's running a check for copyright issues, which is still found none, and now it's going to run to see you'll need to complete the ad stability questionnaire, which is now a new thing they added as of last year as well, and we'll go into that. But that's what checking is. It's basically checking the video for anything wrong so you can catch it before you go live, which is so much nicer than say 2017 when you wouldn't get to know anything until you went live and then it was too late and you're like, oh well, now you either have to delete the video or just leave it up and then try and appeal, which will take days, and then that's it. So since we're gonna select monetization for this one so that you guys can see what the ad stability looks like though. So that's all it is on this tab though. It's just you click on, for example, that's it. And you can select the type of ad, skippable, non-skippable, before, during, after, etc. We're gonna hit next to go to this tab called ad stability. Ad stability? Yes, ad stability. Right. Ad stability. This is the big one. The even bigger one than the monetization one, and I'll explain why. Basically now what they've done monetization wise is they put everything in several categories, and if anything hits the first category in each of these, it's still monetizationable. You can still monetize it, like fully monetize it actually, as a matter of fact. And I'll get into that in a bit. In the first part of this video, I should have explained, in the case I didn't for some reason, what YouTube has decided to do now is allow ads on more adult content, because there's advertisers that were fine pairing their ads and stuff with that kind of content. See, before everything was pulled because, especially with the adpocalypses of before and stuff like that, and that's how people get paid is through like ad partners and stuff, YouTube had to worry about that. Now some advertisers have come forward and be like, well, we don't really mind that anymore. So YouTube's like, cool, now we're gonna let those people remonetize basically, and this is how it works. So for the first one, for example, inappropriate language, frequent use of strong profanity. So before, if you remember, like, and it's a thing that people kind of remember to this day because it's not something that's really announced all that much, but like back in, especially when the AI bot was first implemented, like you even said something that even sounded like a curse word, the whole video was demonetized. Those days are fortunately gone, and they've been gone for a year. But again, it's not really like large news, especially because they're also kind of still iterating on this to this, like actually this month. So when you go to inappropriate language, there's 3 categories. Obviously, this one down here, it's kind of the bad one. It's the really bad one. Now, if it's like an educational video or something, you still should click this to be honest, because YouTube and this whole entire thing will value your honesty more than them having to go and like see a video, scan something, find out it's wrong, and that you weren't honest. But no, you really never want to click the bottom one in any of these categories, as a matter of fact. The middle one, meanwhile, is, moderate profanity in the title or thumbnail. Well, we don't really have that at all. Strong profanity used in the opening of the video. Nope. Roughly the first 30 seconds. And strong profanity in the thumbnail or title of the music video. Well, the thumbnail didn't have... Actually, hold on. Let's check the thumbnail. Yeah, there's no profanity in there whatsoever. So yeah, that's good, actually, as a matter of fact. But basically, this is more like if people are full on arguing. There's curse words like every 2 seconds, essentially. What we do, for example, in like the TTT videos or the GTA videos or the such like that, that actually falls in the first category, which is abbreviated, censored, or light profanity in the title, which there usually isn't. A moderate profanity used in the video. There is, of course. Infrequent use of strong profanity in the opening of the video. So like the first 30 seconds. Usually there's not a lot of cursing the first 30 seconds. But they do allow you to curse now in the first 30 seconds. They changed that. Originally it was like, hey, try to have like no cursing the first 30 seconds of the video. Now they're like, okay, you can, but as long as it's infrequent. So like 2 or 3, of it. So basically what we do falls in this category: safe for ads, fully monetized. That's what that means now. Fortunately, that's like a really good change, because like I said, a lot of people thought it and think it's still like 2017. Fortunately, it's not. But I'll get into why that mindset I think is still around, because those people still are on to something, and it's not something to be ignored per se. But it does mean, yes, you actually can get away with a little bit of stuff now that you couldn't get away with even a couple years ago, which is kind of nice, if that's the kind of content and stuff you make, which is fine, of course. But and that's basically how it goes for all these categories. There's no adult content in here. There's no really violence in here, but I will open this one because it's like, if there's like video game violence, like, with the GTA with the blood and stuff, or TTT possibly with the blood and stuff, it's not really that frequent. It's more cartoonish. But you would click the first one in here, for example, and it would actually still be safe for ads. And that's what I mean. If it's the first one in most of these, it's still safe for ads and fully monetizable, just monetized. It can be monetized. This is usually the only one that really matters with a lot of videos I play with friends, which is part of why I kind of tested to see, just to make sure, in case any of them ever want to branch out and do their own thing on YouTube and they're kind of curious about that. Basically like the TTT videos and the GTA videos and the Wreckfest videos. But basically all those fall in here, which means you can get full stuff on it. However, before we go on to the next tab, because that's basically it for here, what you would do, also if you made a video that was like completely friendly, you just come to the bottom, click none of the above. Either way, afterwards, you hit submit rating. And so now it's gonna recheck the video. Oh, checks complete, no issues found instantaneously. Well, thank you. I was being honest, YouTube. That's actually kind of nice. But anyways, I'll touch on that real quick. Basically, I think the reason that mindset still exists is because they're not necessarily wrong. I have a friend, and we were just talking about this the other day, and they use the word professionalism, actually. And I think that's important, because here's the thing about how it works, right? People get paid through the ad partners. It's not YouTube paying them, after all, right? The ad partners, basically, if you don't curse and you are like more professional, or some people will say Disney and stuff like that, you will basically be able to cast a wider net about how many types of ads like YouTube will put on your videos, because of how many ad safe people, like the advertisers, will be safe putting their stuff on your videos. So that's why monetization is still kind of iffy. Like, yes, this video, for example, is going to be fully monetizationable, even though there is cursing and stuff in it. However, videos where there's not any of that in there will be able to go to wider, like, audiences, because it'll spread wider, because more ads will be able to put on it from advertisers and stuff like that. Basically is what that means. A, and also B, YouTube does also still kind of favor the friendlier stuff overall, even though like they're kind of like leaning off the reins, if you will. I forget the proper term. The friendlier you are, the more that YouTube will also probably push your content still anyways. However, they will still push your content if it's still safe for ads ultimately. You probably just will get pushed more if you're more, like I said, the friend said, professional, or just safe for more kinds of ads. There's like multiple categories. I'm not getting into it too much, but yes, that's why that's still a thing, because it kind of still is a thing. It's like when they did the algorithm change, where you only have to make videos 8 minutes and 1 second long to get the maximum amount of ads on a video now. But people still do the 10-minute 1 second thing because YouTube still likes that. They want people watching on the platform as much as possible. So even though they did that change in July of this year, and it's nice, it's still favorable to still make 10-minute videos instead. It's kind of one of those things. It's like a gray area, but it's like, there's some light at the end of the tunnel, basically. So there's that. Basically, so what you do, you would submit it. If it had to recheck again, it'd be rechecking, but since it doesn't, you would come over here, video elements. So this is where the end of screen stuff comes in. So you would click, add on the end of screen. I made a custom end of screen using thumbnails or YouTube or Photoshop and stuff like this. So here's this over here, why all that's set up. What you do is you go to element, and you can add as little as one video, for example. So you like go add video. You can go recent upload, best review, or choose a specific video. So I'm doing all three. I'll just do recent video, go back to element, video, best for viewer, go back to element, video, and now automatically make me have to choose one. And let's see how far back we can go. What's one that'd be kind of related to this right now? Why don't we use the expert pilot one? No, we'll use the one where we get shot down twice. That one, there we go. And then in the middle there, you can have like your channel, like the subscribe link right there towards the center, and kind of have it like that. And then there you go. That's what basically end screens looks like. And basically when the people get to the end of the video, they'll be able to click on these to go to other videos and kind of just stay on YouTube that way. Hit save. There you go. Go to add cards. Now add cards at the very beginning of the video, a little exclamation point that shows up at the top. I can actually just search videos. What happens if I just search if I remember the specific title of my video? Oh, there it is. Sure enough, it comes up. So we'll just do that. So now if people see that at the very beginning of the video, they can click on that. They'll go to the tank deathmatch video from like back in April. You can either leave that as is. You can have like a custom message if you want to, like, oh my goodness, this was like whatever you want to do, teaser text, etc. Or you can just hit save, call it good. And that's how that will look. Then you'll go over here to checks. This is if the checks isn't finished yet. It is finished. There's no copyright issues that were found. The ad stability is also pretty fine too. So we're actually good to go. So what we do is we hit next, and then we hit private, because usually I don't make the thumbnail before I'm done with the video. Like usually I make the thumbnail while all this is processing. I did this time, but I've habit. I usually go, you can go private though. Like let's say you made the video and the thumbnail, but you want it to be for tomorrow, right? It's not for today. Then you hit private, it'd be good. No one can see it until you go back in and enable it. Unlisted means no one can see it unless you take the link, the URL, and then post it to people. Then people can see it. Members only, I forgot I could enable members even if I wanted to, but members is basically like YouTube's equivalent to subscribing on Twitch with like money and stuff. And then when it's kind of like Patreon fused with that a little bit, because then like if you have a membership thing, you're supposed to get like extra benefits. So sometimes like even Markiplier, for example, he has like specific videos and streams that only members can see that he's done. And that's like to help, for in his case specifically at least, to fund a heist 2. He's doing a second heist with Markiplier, a sequel as a matter of fact, and he's funding it, part of it, with that. And then you go public, which is, of course, it goes public. And then, the Discord that I have, it'll send out. Speaking of Discord, my goodness, I'm going to have ping nightmares at this point with how much I've been getting pinged, actually. But yeah, we're going to hit private on this one because we're not quite done with this video. So private, we'll save it. And then what happens is it'll go to there, and then it'll be here. And I just want to show this part real quick too, where it shows, like, in case you didn't believe me or whatever, all the past videos here, the TTT videos, the GTA videos, all these are monetizable. This one's not, because there was a copyright claim on the credits music in the finale of this game I was unaware of, and I just didn't feel like going back in and taking it out or deleting it, because I was like, I don't really mind. It was a fun game. But yeah, a lot of these are monetized. They have, you have the date published, you have the views, you have the comments, you have restrictions. There's a lot of nones. But as you see, yeah, a lot of the stuff that we do is actually pretty safe for current YouTube. And YouTube's kind of on a trajectory going kind of back the other way in the days of old. It's not quite there yet, though. It's not perfect, but it is in the process of doing stuff. And that's part of why I was doing this experiment ever since like March, is because I wanted to see if any little thing would get picked or prodded or stuff. There's a couple things here or there. I'm looking for one of them. I think I must have passed it. It must have blended in and I didn't notice it. Yeah, it definitely blended in and I didn't notice it because I'm colorblind. Right. Where's the Chiaki? Where is it? It's near the Space Colony Arc. I passed it. Because it was like the day before, the day after I uploaded the Sonic 30th. There it is. Okay, so right here. Wait. Okay, never mind. So this video up until literally today was actually on what's called limited ads. So remember when I said there's like maximum monetization, the middle one, and then the bad one. You don't want the bad one. The middle one meant you could actually still make money. It just would be limited because not all advertisers felt comfortable putting their ads on your video. So I was looking for the yellow. It's usually a yellow $sign. They still have that. Yep, it's still nightmares from 2017. This video had that. The hot Chiaki video, it had that. And it wasn't actually, I don't think it was because of Chiaki. It's because there's a part in the video where my head is actually blocking Junko. So it makes it look like, I think it makes it look like she's not wearing anything on the bottom half of her. She is though, actually, in the actual video. But my head is kind of because in the corner, in the way. I think that's what got it hit initially. But apparently they reversed it on their own. They just reviewed it themselves and were like, no, actually this is fine. Works for me. But I was going to show you an example of what a limited ad video looks like. Kind of ruins this part of the video. Huh. 1 second, let me dig through files and look for an actual limited ad video. Okay. Oh, okay, so I went to look for the other one. Okay, so case in point, I was testing the limits, if you will, of I put a short out. Now there's a whole nother video for shorts. I put a short out. It was just the Chiaki diner scene when everybody was in the swimsuits and stuff. I was like, okay, this will get limited possibly. It did, and they reversed it again. And now I'm kind of struggling to show you what this looks like. I guess I can just go back because we're pretty much close to when I did the first test. Oh, here we go. So here was a video, a VR chat video that was ineligible. It was the beach episode. But here's the thing. It wasn't the beach episode that got it ineligible. It was actually a song I used that I didn't know. I thought it was copyright free and it wasn't. Everything else in that video, the beach part of it and everything else, was actually monetizationable. It was actually fully fine in YouTube standards. And that's kind of one of the things I wanted to talk about too, I guess. Was in short, like when like the first test was way back before even the first VR chat videos and stuff like that. And here we go, the chicken nugget video. All right, so there's a video here, right? It was when I first put up the first VR chat videos. It was episode 4. We were chilling in this like chill world, and there was a bunch of us in it. All right, this is what limited looks like, and it won't actually still say exactly what got limited, but if it is music, they will tell you that it was a song that got hit. So I know it's not a song that got it limited. That's at least the one thing about the system currently that's still kind of flawed. It still won't tell you exactly. I could request a review, but if I request a review and they come up with something, then that's not good. They'll be like, oh, hey, you know, you want us to review it. Guess what? That's actually really bad. Now you're in like actual trouble or something like that. So it's one of those things where you still like, you don't want to risk it, especially when you're small, because it's like whatever. But that is the one thing. It will tell you if it's a music thing, if it's a song thing, if it's a claim. Because if it's a claim, it won't even be like this. It'll be like the other one. It'll be ineligible anyways. But like you still won't be in trouble. And even with limited, you're still not in trouble. Let me make that clear. However, I don't actually know exactly what got hit in this video. All the jokes about like staring up stuff and whatnot. For one, none of those videos got hit. I could show you proof actually. That's the funny thing. As accidental as like all of those were, none of those got hit. So I don't know what in this video did get. Oh, actually no. I might know it got hit. I might know it got hit. Even though it's a song, it might have been more that the context of the song. So you know that one song. It's the really good song. The good song. The Zone. Welcome. You know. I left like a snippet of that in there just to see what would happen. That might have been what happened. Okay, so that one might be on me, which is fine. Like I said, I was testing the limits, so I was kind of pushing on YouTube to see what I could do and not do. That might have been it, because otherwise there's not much in this video that would get it hit. Because again, like I said, there's some of these other videos, right? Like that I get accused of some stuff, right? They're all monetized. So if that was the case, right? Like then, like this one had a bit in it apparently at spawn once that I actually was just unaware of, which is awkward. Of course this one then, right? These are all fine. So I think that might have been it actually. That might have been it. But anyways, I won't make this too much longer. It was going to be a long video though. There's no way it was going to be a short video because there's a lot of things I want to talk about. Some things I'm even forgetting that I would encourage you then to ask questions about in the comment section down below. If anything, one of the only final things I could think about is when it comes to like, what if you don't want to monetize, right? Like let's say you're a hobbyist, you don't want to make a cent off of YouTube, anything like that. You can set it. You don't even have to go like individual video. You can though, like on the monetization tab, you can just click, oh, you know, don't monetize. But also you can just go in on the settings and stuff and just say don't monetize, right? If it's truly a hobby and you want nothing from it, you're allowed to do that. You are allowed to do that. YouTube doesn't automatically make you monetize. They might still put ads in your videos though, just because that's a thing they announced recently. I forget the exact reasons why, so I won't talk about it too much to give false information. But that is a thing that is apparently coming, and that is going to be interesting, I guess, to see how that goes. As you see, this video is monetized. It was just really weird because I was looking for more limited stuff. I've had a couple of those lately, but they've actually been reversed by YouTube, which is nice of them, actually. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because the thing about it, I guess the conclusion is, the more you're honest about things like that, the more your channel will be in what they consider good standing. When you're usually going through that process, it can take a long time at first because you're new. You're new. They don't trust you yet because they don't know you yet. They don't know how accurately you're going to be honest about the stuff when you're going through stuff. The more honest you are, the more instantly you can kind of get through that process quicker and instantly get your video monetized and uploaded and stuff like that too. The upload time is going to be the exact same. What I mean by uploaded is like fully done with like the monetization check and stuff done, because they'll trust you after a while, right? Like I've uploaded hundreds of videos now. They know they can trust me at this point, basically, is what I'm saying. So that's, you know, part of the process as well. I'm thinking if there's any quick bulletin points that I want to hit on before I end this video so I can upload that video, so that video can still be uploaded on the 5th their time. Let's see. No, I think that's, I guess, okay, so here's something that I'll touch on then. Yes, Back for Blood, right? Because I talked about how like TTT and GTA maybe even is considered maybe a bit more cartoony. Back for Blood right here was also fully monetized. So even though like it's literally called Back for Blood, right? There's like a lot of, you know, bloods and stuff in it. It's fine. And I think that's the thing too, where on one hand, I don't want to say you want to throw caution to the wind, but on the other hand, they're a little bit more lax now on things that they weren't lax on before, and they're on a path where they're going to keep getting a bit more laxed. However, what I will say, if you really are worried about something, just play it safe. Just play it safe anyways. Mark something as something if you want to. It's something like Nags did, for example, when COPPA first came out. And a lot of people honestly did when COPPA first came out over on YouTube, was they set their channel for kids because they were worried about, oh, well, even though we're not made for kids, you know, we're using VR chat avatars that are cartoony and stuff. You know, and it turns out, no, that's actually not what they're looking for, so that's actually fine. But at the time, right, like if you're in the moment, either a change has happened or you're still super new to something that I didn't fully explain very well, and you're worried about that, I would say, you know, edge on the side of caution, basically, and be like, hey, you know what, just in case, why don't I just, you know, play it safe for this one. Again, if it's a hobby anyways, then you're probably not missing out too much on the money problems. Again, claims aren't the bad ones too. You can get claimed all you want, it doesn't matter. That's why people can still make AMVs and do all that kind of stuff too. It's strikes that are the problem, and strikes are really the things when it comes to, like, you know, a very violent video that breaks terms of service. Basically, strikes are terms of service things, right? So, you know, community strikes, guideline violations, really bad language, even worse than in the monetization tab, where at least then you might be ineligible, but you might be able to upload it on the sense of like educational purposes or something. Like you're like a history buff or some sort of channel that has to cover like a certain era in a certain way that has those words in it or whatever. Yes. Anyways, that's it for this video. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'm not gonna say like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz, because like this is really just a video for people that kind of stumble across it, or some of my friends or anybody else that's kind of curious how the process kind of works. That's kind of how it works. So I'm just gonna kind of end the video and say thank you so much for watching the video. Hopefully I answered most of your questions, but if I didn't, comment in the comment section down below, or I guess reach out to me if you're, I guess, one of my friends watching this and you're like, okay, I got a question. Hit me up on like Twitter or Discord or something, I guess, because people are fine hitting me up there. I'm gonna have ping nightmares by the time this is all said and done. Oh, you know what I should touch on though? This video was gonna end. I swear it was gonna end, but I should touch on this. Music, as in music specifically, right? Because I said that one video got hit because apparently the credit song was copyrighted, and I didn't know that. I thought it was in-game music. Here's the thing about music and some things that might make things a little bit more easier or harder depending on who you are and what you want to do. When it comes to music, there's a lot of in-game music and as such OSTs for certain games that are completely fine to play on YouTube, like in the background of a video. If I was just taking songs and uploading them and trying to monetize them just straight up and that was it, that might be a little bit of a problem. But like in a lot of my videos, I use like Sonic music in the background. Because for one, the Sonic Twitter, I can't find the tweet unfortunately, but they actually made a tweet at one point that they're like, no, we're completely fine with you using our OSTs in the background of like your vlogs and stuff like that too. Basically, as long as you're not just taking the song and uploading it and trying to say it's your own and monetizing it, we're kind of fine, so it's whatever. So in Sonic's case specifically, they're also extremely chill on copyright. versus like say a Nintendo or something where you might want to be a little bit more cautious. I have used a couple like Persona 5 songs in the background of my videos because that seems to be fine, but there have been instances where certain titles under Nintendo, they will get you hit, so be careful about that. Danganronpa is another one I want to touch on because Danganronpa is actually fine. Here's the thing that the stipulation around Danganronpa actually is that the first game had the animation that was made. Now the first game came out in 2010, the animation came out in like 2014, but the animation used most of its songs from the first game, including the execution music. So for some reason, the reason why that gets hit is because it's claiming it to Funimation when it's not supposed to the point you can actually I'll pull this up. Please don't be any TOS. It's not TOS. I'll take it. Cool. So here's what's supposed to happen. So basically, if this happens to you, this is what you're supposed to do, because it's not supposed to happen to the point Spike has said it's not supposed to happen, but it still does, where the execution music's being claimed under Funimation, but it's not, because it's from 2010. They're, the first game. So you basically like hit them up and be like, yo, hey, copyright claims for the Trigger Happy Havoc specifically, and they'll hit you up with this and be like, oh, hey, cool, here's an email link, send all of the links like to the videos and the claims and stuff here, and they'll resolve it. And that's basically what you can do. And it's kind of nice, actually. I haven't done it yet because I'm lazy, so that is the case. But otherwise, Danganronpa music is actually copyright free. It's actually fine, especially from the second game onward. So if you're still iffy on the first game because of stuff like this for the first game, because of the animation, then just ignore the first game's OST, but you can still use like the second game, V3, Ultra Despair Girls. Those are all free and fair to use. There's actually no problem with those whatsoever. So that's why I kind of stick to Sonic and Danganronpa, but there's actually like a couple things you can use as well. Obviously you can look up, non-copyright free stuff, things like that as well. All those will serve you well, but like in a lot of these, in the background, what you're hearing is basically Sonic music or Danganronpa music because it's fine. The trick, however, I would say though, is again, make sure you're not uploading videos that are just the songs basically that you're then trying to also monetize and be like, hey, that's it. It's my song basically. No, make sure it's like, because it's like the background for something, or it's, even if it's like one of those more like, I don't want to say like highlight videos, but I guess like even if it's a highlight video, like there's still more to it than just the song, right? It's like a highlight. It's like a highlight reel of stuff or wackiness or goofiness or even something like that. There's more to it than just a song. Again, if you want to ebb on the side of caution, basically what you can do is when you open up a video and you're like editing through it, actually as a matter of fact, hold that thought. Here, for example, I've opened Windows Movie Maker. Here's like all 225 technically plus files that I use to make the video that's going to be going out today. What you can basically do is make sure you have it saved as a project. Whatever software you're using, I'm pretty sure it'll be the same though. Make sure you have it saved as a project. So that way, if you put a song in here, this is just my outro song, which is something I just actually made in this thing called Beaterator. So that's definitely copyright free because it's mine. You can kind of just have the files and everything still set up, and then you can just go back in and like delete the song if there was like an issue for some reason that came up like that. So I would encourage you, until you're through the uploading process, don't delete the project file off of your computer just because the project has now been uploaded onto YouTube. So that way, if you did put a song in there and you're kind of curious, like for example, I started using Bury the Light when it comes to Lucy and GTA specifically, mainly with her bomber too, especially because that first time she was literally coming out of a storm. I don't know if anyone caught that. It was kind of cool. And I was like, oh, I have to use it. I don't know if it'll be fine, but I'm going to try it. I tried it. Turns out it's okay. So then you can kind of experiment that way. Is that the best way to experiment? Of course, but it is an option. Again, I'm here trying to test the limits, so this is my job, is trying to push back and do stuff anyways, so yes. But yes, that is a thing you can do. Make sure you do that when you're editing stuff. Just have the project file somewhere still, so if it does come up, oh, this one song too was hit, but like every other song was fine, you can go in, delete that song, and either replace it with another one. Maybe there's just no background noise for that time, or background music at that time, things like that. So now, finally, we can actually end the video, because that's actually all for this video for me. So actually, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, I don't know which video will be next. Well, I know actually which video will be next right now for me, but for you in the future, you've already seen that video, and I don't know what video is. Oh, here we go again. Jesus in the morning. I'm just trying to end the video. That's all I'm trying to do is end the video. No. Just hold on a second. They'll run out. They'll run out eventually. Okay. So One thing I'll quickly note is you probably do it if you've noticed at the top of the screen, it does say two-step verification. You do, if you're making an account by November, apparently want two-step verification. I already have it, and they keep telling me to get started on it, even though I did it like years ago because, yeah, I get it. It's security. I don't know what to do next. We just have to wait and see. Until next time, take care, enjoy, pizza responsibly. Cool. I got my outro out there. All right, cool. We can end the video. Basically, that's the thing. You probably know that if you already do Twitch and stuff and whatever. If it's November when you're seeing this video is kind of sloppy and all over the place. I'm ending the video. It's done. Bye bye.